All right, hey everyone. Friend of ours on Twitter asked me about what my daily routine was like, and I thought, well, that's a pretty reasonable and awesome question. So I wanted to walk through the process that I go through, at least just briefly right now, for Forex and for stocks, and give you a little bit of an idea of what the process is that I go through on a daily basis to plan the trades. All right, so let's start with just say, for instance, building the watch list for stocks. And I'm just going to walk through a few charts. And this might be just second nature to some of you, and then to others, this might be actually some useful information, which would be awesome. So you can enjoy your day. All right, so I've got a list of stocks that I watch here. For those of you that are members of that Missed Pivots and Massive Profit Targets course, you know that this represents a list of stocks that I think is probably going to move pretty significantly. And what I do is I run down through this list of financial instruments on a daily basis, and I look for the criterion that should exist that tells me that a trade is going to pop up. So right here I've got a missed pivot point, and I've got some divergence setting up. So definitely Hercules offshore, for example, I'm looking to take a buy trade back up in the opposite direction. So I'm going to come over here on the watch list and say Hero 60-minute chart, setting up a buy trade, looking to get back to the $6.17 area, and then I'm running my screen sharing and image capturing program right now, so you can't really see what it is that I'm doing. So then I'll also grab a picture of that chart and throw it in there, and I'll move down to the next chart after that, and then I'll say, well, look at this. There are a few of these setting up actually. So CIG is setting up also. I'm looking for that to get back into the $6 and about the $6 area. So 60-minute chart, setting up a buy, looking to get to $6.10. All right, I'm going to do this every day at the same time, over and over and over again, every day at the same time. I'm going to look for setups. So this is Banro Corp. This is a short opportunity. And I know that I'm going to, and you might be wondering, well, what's the system that I'm using here? Well, I'm just trading on divergence, Knoxville divergence, which for those of you that have tradingview.com, for example, you can get the Knoxville divergence indicator under there. Or if you have MetaTrader, you can download the indicator for your Forex pairs right on the page that you're on right now, somewhere up or down. I'm happy to give that indicator to you. If you use TradingView, you'll need to subscribe, but it's totally worth it, and you'll get the pivot points in the whole 9 yards. Anyway, that's beside the point. So I'm not gonna short anything. As many of you know, that's not interesting to me. This is Casual Male Retail Group. I don't know what the heck these people do. Well, apparently they're very casual though, and I'm looking to get back up into the $6.29. So let's get that symbol DXLG. 60-minute, setting up a buy. What are we trying to get back to? $6.30. Looking to get to $6.30. So I'm building this watch list, and I'm going to save screenshots as I go. And then what I'll do next is I'll jump over to a site like FinViz, and I'll throw in that ticker, DXLG, for example, and I'll scroll down. Files an SCC Form 8K entry into a material definitive agreement creation, blah, blah, blah. And I'll run through some of the recent news here, if it's a stock-related trade, and I'll make sure that we're looking at something. Once again, I'll make sure that I'm not buying into some kind of a delisting or a lawsuit or some craziness that's going on. I'll make sure that I'm not getting into something that I'm really going to regret later. And you can just do all that at finviz.com. That's an awesome website. It's totally free. I'm going to look at CREG next, China Recycling. And we've got looking to get up into the $3.57 area. So CREG, 60-minute, setting up a buy trade. $3.57 is the target. and so on. So I'm building a watch list here as I cycle through these financial instruments. Now, for those of you that trade stocks, that's helpful. For those of you that trade currencies, let's move over to the 15-minute charts for a look at how I set up some of those trades. We can actually go ahead and just use MetaTrader for this. Let's look at the 15-minute charts, and we'll pull over the Australian dollar, US dollar. And so I'm going to look at, for some of you already know this, I'm going to look at 4 main currency pairs when I'm setting up my currency trades. What I'm trying to do is look at a variety of currencies that are somewhat uncorrelated. And as I have mentioned, many of you already know this, but I look at the Australian dollar, US dollar. Then I look at the Swiss franc, Japanese yen, the euro Canadian, and the British pound, New Zealand dollar, which is just a beast. It will move a lot. So I look at those because there's 8 different currencies there, and they're not that correlated. What I do now is I walk through and I look for setups on the 15-minute chart that are divergent with a reversal tab and a clear level of support and resistance. And then I'm going to look to buy above that level. Now, these are 15-minute charts, and I'm going to cycle through all 4 of those currency pairs. And for those of you that are out there and you're saying, wow, I'm doing something similar to this, and I'm doing it at the same time every day, and I'm doing it on the same financial instruments, and I'm using the same system, what is it that I'm missing because I'm still not profitable? Well, let's just, I actually do like this as a 15-minute chart, 88.24. So let me just actually really put this in here. 88.29 buy. Talk about catching falling knives. This is a really significantly strong bear trend. But let's go down to the Swiss franc, Japanese yen. See if there's anything setting up here on the 15 minutes chart. No, it's already gone. Let's look at the euro Canadian. And I'm going to look for something to set up here. And well, there's nothing really setting up here. We're getting close, though, to a buy trade. And then, but nothing's setting up, so I already know that's not going to go on my watch list. And then pound New Zealand is my final one. And it's not going to set something up every day for me on my 15-minute charts. And that's why sometimes we get distracted and then we start looking at other time frames and we start looking at other financial instruments because we're really interested in taking a trade and it's not setting something up for us. Look at that. I missed a trade on the British pound, New Zealand dollar right there. Fell below that support level. So I missed that trade. So the only currency pair that makes it on my watch list is the Australian dollar, US dollar, 15-minute chart, a buy trade we had at 88.29. Now, all of these are on TFL365.com. For those of you that are members, I publish this watch list at TFL365.com. But let's also talk about, I guess, what I would consider the most important element of this whole arrangement is that I found that building watch lists for short-term trading can be really difficult for me, and it doesn't necessarily lead to me being a profitable trader. Instead, because I was sort of looking at the charts more often than I wanted to, which is pretty much I don't want to look at it more than every day, I decided to skip forward to and start watching those longer term charts with missed pivots and divergences. And like I said before 1,000 times, happy to give you those indicators. They're free for MetaTrader, and if you want to use tradingview.com, it's a small subscription fee. It's not the purpose of me making this video, so I'll just move on to the next point. The point is that by moving to the 4-hour charts, I found a lot of relief from that ultra super short-term chart watching, and I really only need to look at this once a day. I do end up looking at it, however, twice a day, and I look at it at about 8 a.m. Eastern U.S. time, and then again at about 7 p.m. Eastern U.S. time. Today's a U.S. holiday, so I'm looking at the market a little bit later than usual. And I follow that analysis 2 times a day, and I do it from the 4-hour charts. The longer the time frame that you watch, and this sounds like a cliche, but it's not really. the longer the time frame that you watch, the less likely it is that you're going to be watching the charts all day long and constantly. It really eases up your schedule. So I'm not begging you, that would be kind of dumb, but I'm encouraging you. Give it a shot. Like, consider looking at those longer term charts. If you are struggling a little bit with your trading in 2014, consider looking at those longer term charts so that you can have a lifestyle that allows you to do some of the other things that you love to do and not just trade all the time. As you can see, watching these longer term charts, we're not going to miss anything ever. We could look at it once a day or twice a day and follow the same system. So I hope you've enjoyed, I use that word a lot, but I hope you've liked these lessons, this 3-part series in sort of doing some consistent analysis on just a few financial instruments from the same time frame charts at the same time of the day using the same trading system. And as you know, I'm a trader and I enjoy my interaction with you. So I'm gonna put a comment box, if I can figure out how to do it, at the bottom of this post. And I'd love to hear from you. If you want to ask a question about this, I'd love to hear from you. We'll see if that works. If it doesn't work, I'll take the comment section off. But I'd love to hear from you. Let me know more about the way that you trade from the charts in your system, or what you thought of these videos. Love to hear from you. And enjoy your day.